Hey everyone. Hello, welcome to stream. Welcome. Okay, so it's Monday again, and we are here to work on Voyager again, okay? So yeah, I hope this week is a bit more like normal in terms of streaming schedule and that kind of thing. Let me do my quick audio test as always. Yeah, it's so good. Hey, Bread Monsters, how's it going? All good. So yeah. I was hoping that today we would be able to stream for a bit longer, but I don't know. I'm doing pretty good. That's a really good phrase. So yeah, I think I'm going to be streaming for maybe an hour and something. Yeah, I'm getting a bit destroyed by by my main job lately. So yeah, and yeah, I hope I hope this week is a bit more normal in terms of streaming schedule, because yeah, last week I basically streamed like once, I think. But yeah, 23-hour stream. Let's go. Game dev marathon. Voyager marathon. So yeah. But yeah, I hope to start getting the routine again, because I kind of lost it last week, and I had to start getting familiar with the things I was doing, and yeah. But yeah, I'm catching up again, and yeah, we just need to get some good amount of time in this. So I would say let's get into it, okay? Shall we? So let's see what we had in Figma in the planning tool. So this is currently what we are working on, okay? So remember, we are basically trying to prototype the action of landing in a planet, okay? So that's basically what we're trying to do. For that, we had to build an interaction system, okay? We basically did a really bare bones version of the interaction system, and it's pretty good. It's pretty modular. It's great. It's really decoupled from everything, so that's amazing, because we are going to be using that for a lot of things, a lot of different interaction types. And one of them was basically the player detecting a planet so that it knows when it can land on that planet, okay? So that was the idea. And yeah, so basically we started like implementing that, and we created a couple things to handle the landing interaction and logic, basically. So we have a landable zone, okay, which is an interactable, okay? So I created this interface. I made huge progress on my Astrobot prototype, and I'm so proud of myself. Oh, that's great. That's amazing. Okay. I hope to be seeing some new stuff in the Discord. That would be great. Or whatever, if you want to paste a link here, wherever you want to share it. I would like to take a look on that. So yeah, I will show once I finish the enemy. That's great. So yeah, Sometimes I feel like I'm going really slow with this game, which is like I am going really slow with it. That's because, of course, I only work like a couple hours, a couple times a week, so it's like I think in total I might be working on this game like on average maybe 8 hours a week, which is not a lot honestly, because if you think about it, 8 hours is like a full-time work day in any job. So imagine if I could spend that much time daily in this game. That would be amazing. We would be making a lot of progress, but yeah, that's not possible right now. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I sometimes I just think about the things I want to be doing in this game, and yeah, it's like, when am I going to get to that point, man? But yeah, we're going to get there eventually. So I created this interface called iInteractable. Okay, so this interface is going to be implemented by anything that is an interactable. Okay, so in this case is a landable zone, but it can be, for example, a NPC, or it can be a door, or maybe a switch, or like a lever, or anything you can interact, or a chest even, I don't know. So then it basically has the interact method, and it's receiving the entity as a parameter. Okay, so yeah, of course this is just really basic and abstract, and I will know what I need once I start working on those things, but right now this is all I need. So I know that landable zone, which is the area that planets have, okay, so that you can trigger when you enter that area. And the landable zone is basically going to implement this interact thing. And yeah, so first, this is the flow, okay? Lander controller is a script that contains an interaction area, okay? This has a trigger, and this lander controller is going to basically serve as a trigger to detect when we are entering a landing zone, okay? A landable zone. Whenever we detect a landable zone, we're going to say, okay, try to get the component of landable zone, which should never throw an error, because we are now working with tags. So now I know that if this event is triggered, that means that we like it's 100% like confirmed that this is a landable zone. So this is just for security, but yeah, we get the landable zone component, and then we call this, which is receive lander. Okay, we inform the landable zone, okay, I entered your area. Okay, so the landable zone is going to receive the lander, okay, and it's going to fire this event, and this event is going to be listened by the landing system, okay. And also, once we get whatever, so there's a couple of things we need to do, but the first thing I want to do is this, which is landing system, implement the landing system. So I have a couple things noted here. I don't know if you can read that, because it's like the comment color is really bad. It's really, I don't know. So I have this also here. So what should the landing system class do? Okay, so that's basically a class that's global, okay, in the scene, and it's going to be used for handling any landing, whatever is a landing from like that the player's doing or any other entity, okay? So basically for this, the landing system class is going to, first of all, find all landable zones in the scene whenever it initializes. It's going to try to find every landable zone, okay? Then it's going to subscribe to all of the events, okay, to the events from landable zones, okay? So the event is this one on received lander, and then after that, whenever any landable zone fires the event, the landing system class is going to do something depending on the context, okay? So this authorized the lander to land. I'm going to remove this because we are not going to prevent any entity from landing for now. We're going to see in the future, but right now I don't think I'm going to do anything like requirements for landing. So I don't think I'm going to do that for now, so we can skip that. So here, what should we do here? Okay, so one, find all landable zones. Well, first of all, let me just create my lovely regions. Okay. So I'm just going to say public and then local. Okay. So, what do we need here? What do we need here? So, first of all, we need a list of landable zones, okay? And this is the list that's going to be filled with all of the landable zones that are in the scene, okay? Then what else do we need? So we need, well, not runtime, but first we need a method for initializing this landing system. And what's this initialize method going to do? This method is going to do point number 1 and 2, which is find all landable zones and subscribe to their events, okay? So those 2 points are going to be done now. So how do we find all of the landable zones? We basically just say landable zones. Well, I'm thinking I could treat this as an array, I think, but find objects by type landable zone, and now you can see that this is like throwing an error. So basically this is because this returns an array. So I think I'm going to make it an array because it's, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be, well, it's still no takes 0 arguments. So what's the argument it needs? Find objects inactive. I guess include. Okay. Cannot convert from. Okay, so that doesn't work. What the hell? Sort mode, I think it is. Yeah, none. Okay, but it's still complaining. What is it now? Cannot be used as a type parameter T in the generic type or method. There's no implicit reference conversion from. What the hell's happening here? So ever since Unity 6 came out, the find objects in the scene is like everything is changed. Find objects by type. Okay, so how the hell? System.type type. So why can't I use landable zone as a type? That doesn't make any sense, honestly. So, for example, can I find, I don't know, interaction area? Yeah, it seems like I can find that kind of. Oh, I think I know what's happening here. So, oh yeah. I'm so dumb. Yeah. So I needed to inherit from mono behavior, but also implement the interactable thing. So yeah. Okay. Now I understand what was happening. Landable zone, and here I should set the thing that says sort mode none. Okay, now it works. Hey Ciala, how you doing? What's up? So now we basically gathered every landable zone in the scene. Okay. Now we can add something here just as a safety check. We can do something like so I would do like okay, so we return there. Okay, great. Perfect. Okay, that's good. So now we have point number 1, which is grab all of the landable zones in the scene. Now, one thing I would like to do is this. So here in the planetary system, I have this script, which is called planetary system, of course. But I would like to change the name of this because this is kind of the manager in the planetary system scene. So I would like to call it, for example, planetary system manager or handler. So I'm just going to change the name. so yeah, because I have been using the name system to refer to, you know, systems, of course. So for example, this script is called Starship System. Now the thing is, planetary system is a name, also like it's like a star is a planetary system because it contains planets and blah blah blah. So the name should be planetary system. So that doesn't make any sense. So I want to change this. I want to change the class name, and I think it's going to break. But yeah, I don't know. So here I want to say planetary system manager. Okay, because I want to use like more accurate namings. Are you sure it is not called star system? I think it's either way. You can call it. Yeah, you know, I actually read about that when I started making the game because I wanted to know the difference about that. So let's actually search for that, because at this point it's too late to change the namings, I think. But I think planetary system is a collection of celestial objects including planets, dwarf planets, asteroids, natural satellites, moons, meteoroids and comets that are gravitationally bound to and orbit a star or star system. So a star system is a different thing. I'm not sure what it is, but let's see what that is. So a star system or stellar system is a small number of stars that orbit each other, bound by gravitational attraction. So yeah, it's not the same thing. They are different things, and planetary system is the correct term for what I'm using. So yeah, I knew that I made sure that I was using the right term for that. So yeah, a star system, it's a really interesting thing to add to the game. Imagine like stars that are orbiting between each other. I don't know, it's it's interesting. I don't know, it's an interesting concept. Alpha Centaur, yeah, exactly. So yeah, we could do something like that in the game, but yeah, it's way too advanced for to think about right now. So Planetary System Manager, I think that's good because it clearly describes what this class is doing. Okay, it's basically managing the planetary system scene and all that kind of thing. Okay, so that's amazing. That's great. Now inside this script we would have, that is a 3-star system. Yeah, I think I know that that star system. Yeah, actually. I would like to start reading a lot more about like astronomy and astrophysics and all of that. There was a time where I was really like, what's the word? I don't know. I was like watching a lot of videos about astrophysics and stuff like that, and how the universe works and stuff like that. And it was, I don't know, it was really fun and inspiring and motivational. Well, not motivational exactly. It was inspiring. I think that's the correct term. So yeah, whenever I see, like, I watch any of those videos or I read stuff about the universe and how it works and cosmic things and stuff like that, it's like really inspiring, and it fires a lot of ideas for this game. So yeah, it's really cool. In fact, there's a lot of places in my scripts where I use actual terms, like actual astrophysical terms for things, to describe things. yeah. So same with the thing you were recommending me, like is that how you say that phrase? You recommended me, or you recommended to me? I don't know, but yes, you mentioned Hello Tomorrow. That's a really good series I want to watch, and also Stargate and all of that. I have to find the time to watch those. I really want to, but yeah, right now I barely have time to stream this, so it's really hard. Okay, great. So here I basically want to add a reference to landing system. Okay, and this is just for convenience. Okay, just because, well, first of all, this is because Planetary System Manager should be the system that initializes all of the other systems. Okay, so it's like a tree structure. So that way I can ensure that everything is initialized in always in the same sequence. Because let's say I have the awake method here, okay, in the planetary system, but I also add the awake method here in landing system. So I make landing system is going to initialize itself, and then planetary system is going to also initialize everything in the awake. So what will happen is the awake method is never going to run in the same order. It always depends on your system and a lot of things that we can't control. So we don't want to rely on that. So instead of doing this, what I'm doing is, you can see here, for example, the initialize method for Planetary System Manager is being called inside game engine whenever we enter the scene. So I know that this is the first thing, this method is the first initialize method that is going to be called whenever the scene is loaded, okay? And that's all I want. So then from here I can say, okay, so then here I will initialize this, and then I will initialize the planets, and then I will initialize the astronaut starship, and then I will initialize the camera and the planetary system map, and then I can go here and say landing system. So here I can say landing system.init, and I know that this is going to be called after everything that you see here, okay? So that's amazing. Recommended to me. Okay, great. Thank you for the correction. Which are the methods on planetary systems? Is that a correction or is that a question? Maybe you sent that while I was explaining, so yeah, maybe I was phrasing something really badly. Yeah, I need to keep practicing my English. I will get better, of course. It's a question to figure out the role name of the class. Oh yeah, it's a question. So Planetary System Manager, well, I was kind of explaining what it does. So Planetary System Manager is the class that's going to contain, first of all, the properties of the planetary system. Okay, so how many planets there are, what is the star that owns this planetary system, okay, what is the star for this system, like the orbits, and I don't know, where the entrances and exits are for going to other stars, and you know, all those kind of things. So this is basically something that gets generated, okay, whenever we enter a new star. This is generated, so this is going to determine, okay, I have this and this and this and that planets, okay, and based on that, each planet is going to grab its own properties from here, okay, and yeah, so in addition to that, this system is also going to have references to other systems that are relevant to the planetary system. So for example, the Planetary System Manager has a reference to the planetary system map, which in reality this shouldn't go here. The planetary system map is a UI element, is the map we have in the left corner, so the thing we were working in the past. So this should be managed by the UI. So at some point I will create a class called, for example, Planetary System UI, and then Planetary System Manager is going to have a reference to that and initialize the UI whenever it's convenient. So it also has the reference to the background planes for the parallax. It also has a reference to each planet, to each planet sprite object, and now it has a reference to the landing system, which is a system that's going to only handle the landing interactions and logic. Okay, so yeah, I think it's a pretty good way of organizing and structuring the scripts and the responsibilities, so that we have like few places where stuff is happening. Zones, it has 3+ jobs: data like a model record, creation like a factory, UI data, parallax, a tree structure to reach other planetary systems, a landing system. Yeah. It's like, of course, it's not the best like design pattern, of course, because I'm breaking the one of solid rules, which is single responsibility. Of course, but I really like having one script that is in charge of initializing all of the other things, or like the main things, and then the other systems. So for example, what I could do for in the future, if I want to improve this, would be to make this script only care about the planetary system properties when it generates the properties, and just work with that. And then, for example, I don't know, the background planes could have its own manager, and then planets, it could have another manager for that. And landing system, well, in this case, landing system is not the only thing that the planetary system manager is doing, is just initializing this system, and that's it. It's not doing anything else. It's just there to be initialized, and that's it. Just because of what I just explained, which is that this initialize method is guaranteed that is going to run first and before everything else. So I just want that chain of initialization, and I'm doing it via this class. So you can see there's a lot of, for example, planetary system map only has one reference, and all I'm doing here is just initializing it. And I'm doing the same thing with landing system. So yeah, it has multiple purposes and responsibilities, which is not great, but like in terms of following the solid principles. But I don't know, I don't really care about this, about that. I can just decouple things when I need to. Right now, I don't think I need to, because you can see this script is only like 136 lines. Yeah, exactly, it's a prototype. I'm just prototyping right now. So yeah, it also has things here for loading data, so that could be handled like somewhere else. It has this method for landing, for actually landing in a planet, so that would fade the scene and change the scene to the planet scene. That should be handled somewhere else, maybe, I don't know. For now, it's fine for me that this is this way. So yeah, and the other thing is that this is a candidate for ECS splitting. I don't really know what ECS is. ECS splitting. But in any case, this also is just so I have a global reference to a landing system, and I don't need to create a singleton for this class, you know. So if I want to be able to access this landing system class, I would need to I have two options. One, I add a reference to every landable zone, so they all have a reference to landing system, and also to lander controller. Or the other thing I could do is make this a singleton, with which I'm not really like comfortable doing that. I only like having just one singleton and that's it. So in the whole game, I have this script, which is the only singleton I have in the whole game, in the whole project. So you can see this is a static instance. I have the property set up, and this is going to initialize and do the don't destroy unload and blah blah blah. So this is the only singleton I have in the project. And yeah, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that I don't like having multiple singletons. That's it. Entity component system. Sounds interesting. Entity component system. Yeah, I don't really know how that should work, but yeah, I want to, of course, I want to improve my programming skills, and I want to get better and do everything in the best way I can. But I don't necessarily want to be a software engineer. I don't care about that. Not today, another time. Of course. Yeah, so yeah, for example, right now this interface, this is like, I don't know, maybe the second or third time I actually used interfaces. I'm not really familiar with it, but I know that this is a good thing to do for this kind of system and design for the system, for interactable systems. So yeah, but I will be refactoring and improving the code as I need to do that. But right now everything is really small, so the actual code is like 90 lines, so it's really small. So I don't need to be like optimizing right now. It doesn't make sense. So now we should be able to initialize landing system, which is what we did. Here under initialize, we're going to find every landable zone. If we don't find any, that means landable zones is null. Then we return and throw this error, which is really good. And now, so I should add a comment, try to find every landable zone in this scene. Okay, that's perfect. Now the other thing we need to do is subscribe to to landable zone events. Okay, so here I would like to do this. I will create a method because it's going to be better this way. So here I would say if on. This way I don't need to be like copying, pasting code like crazy. So here I would say for landable zones.length on received lander, I'm going to say on received lander. Okay. Oh, and I'm thinking that on received lander should also send the info of which landable zone fired the event. So for that, we would add that and we would say this here. So I am the one firing this event and this is the lander that's entered the area. That's everything. That's all I'm doing there. So on received lander in landable zone. So yeah, maybe this is a really long name, but whatever. I don't want to be too repetitive with the method names, so that's why I wanted to add some more detail here. Okay, that's perfect. So now we have this event. Subscribe to blah blah blah. Okay. So now everything we're going to do is this. Okay, so here we're going to say subscribe to Landable Zone events true. Okay, so here we are subscribing, and of course we need to unsubscribe to prevent memory leaks. Okay, so what we're going to do is here in runtime, in fact I'm not going to do that there. I'm just going to go here and say on destroy. Okay, on destroy is called in the mono behavior code when any game object is destroyed. So for example, the only time that this system needs to unsubscribe is at that point, because I'm not going to be enabling and disabling this object at all. And the only moment that this object is going to be destroyed is when we change the scene. Okay, so here we want to say subscribe false. So whenever we destroy this object, we unsubscribe from all of the events, and that's it. Okay, that's great. So that's perfect actually. Now this is the third part. Okay, we have we basically have this, and I'm not going to remove it yet because I need to corroborate that it works. Of course it should work, but yeah. So yeah, we have point number 1 and 2 done, and now number 3 is when Landable Zone fires event, grab the entity that entered to the zone and add Landable Zone as current interactable. So how do we do that actually? So entity has this class inside, which is senses, which is a class I created for like awareness of things. Okay, so it's a bit I don't know, cluttered, is that the word? Let me check. Cluttered, yeah, that's actually the perfect word. So it's a bit cluttered right now. How do we pronounce that?
Cluttered.
Cluttered. I don't know, I can't pronounce that. But oh my god, whenever I open a white screen or window, my face is flashbanged. So yeah, it's a bit cluttered right now. Everything is a mess, and like I will be improving this and refactoring this later, not now. But this class is for example, environment detection. So you have ground detection, environment detection, ledge detection. Okay, so we have different kinds of detection, and one of the things I'm going to do is store the current interactable in this class. Okay, so then the entity can decide whatever it wants to do, and all the entity needs to do is just say, okay, senses, give me the current interactable. Is it null? No. Okay, so we have an interactable, do something. So when is that moment going to be happening? Whenever, for example, the player presses the interact button. So imagine I go to a door and I want to open the door. Okay, when I go to the door and I enter the door area, so let me just do like a really easy example. So imagine, I don't know, this is a door, okay? I'm just going to make it like the dumbest way possible. So imagine the door is going to have an area, okay, of interaction area, okay? That's the idea. And then the player also has its own interaction area, okay? So what's going to happen is whenever the player enters this interaction area, well, it's not going to be done by the landing system in this case, but what's going to happen is the senses script, okay, is going to grab this door and say, okay, store this because we entered this interaction area, so we are going to store it here, okay, in the script. And now whenever the player presses the interact button, okay, while he's inside this area, then something should happen. For example, the door should open, okay? So for that, we need to store the interactable somewhere, so that's what we are going to be doing, okay? So here at somewhere I have this, okay, current interactable. So this is basically something that's being accessed from somewhere else, but right now everything, like all I have to do is just keep it simple for now, because I'm going to be refactoring this and decoupling it and blah 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 later, okay? Right now it's not the moment to work on this. So for now, all I need to do is just do this, okay? I just need to do lander controller the get component in parent entity, okay? Because I know, well, in fact, I should do if try get component oh yeah, I cannot do that though. That's really bad. So yeah, I will have to do it this way. So entity is going to be that. So here we are also going to do a safety check. You're going to say landing system. We're going to say could not find the entity component and here we're going to say lander controller dot game object of name, okay? Okay, perfect. So we just created a little safety check, okay, so that we don't do anything is if we cannot get the component, the entity component, but we should always get the component because, like I said before, the only kinds of things that are going to contain a lander controller are entities, because there's no other thing that can land on things, okay? There's no like a space rock that's going to be floating and then landing into a planet. I mean, that could happen in real life, but not in this game for now, at least. So, anyways, lander controller, when we get this, okay, and then we say get component in parent. So what that's going to do is search through the parents until it finds the entity. And you can see here, isometric, this is the starship object, the isometric starship object. And guess what? This is an entity, okay? So that's perfect. That's all we need. So after we get the entity from the lander controller, then we're going to say entity.senses.current interactable is landable zone. Okay, that's it. So that's all we needed to do. This is going to store the current interactable in the entity, and the current interactable is the landable zone that fired the event. So you might be asking, why are we doing this inside this script when we could have done that here? Instead of firing the event, we could have easily just done the same thing here. Well, that's because here we are actually respecting the single responsibility principle, okay? Because, well, it was easy to build first because it's really a few lines of code and it was a really simple system. So I said, well, why don't we just start from the good practices first, and then yeah, so, and I actually already had something working in the same kind of pattern. So yeah, I just wanted to extend from that. So that's perfect, because you can see here landable zone is only basically going to execute this code, which is firing an event, and there's no references here, there's no coupling with other scripts or classes, there's nothing here. The only thing that's relevant to this class is that it has this method that's being called by the lander. So the lander is going to inform this landable zone, hey, receive lander, receive me, okay? And then this script, this class is going to say, okay, I received a lander, fire event. So then the landing system is the one that's going to listen to that event and say, okay, that landable zone received a lander, okay, let's do the thing we need to do, okay? That's basically it. So now that we have this, I think that now we should be able to get the actual chain of actions running and working. So you can see here this starship underscore idle. Well, you cannot see it. I just realized you cannot see all of my tabs of the scripts, but in any case, this script, I think you can see it here. Yeah, this is starship underscore idle. This is just a state from the state machine of the starship. Okay, so states are for defining the behavior of something. Okay, so the state machine will determine which state we are in at a certain period of time. Okay, so in this case, when we are in the idle state in the starship, we are going to here I am checking if you pressed the interact input, okay, which could be, I don't know, the E key in the keyboard, or maybe the X or the triangle button in the PlayStation pad, or whatever controller you're using, is going to check for that input, and then it's going to say, okay, is current interactable in senses null? Is it not null? Well, if it's not null, then we are going to execute or call this interact method in that interactable, okay? And what this is going to do in the side of the starship or the player side, nothing is going to happen to the actual starship or the player. But what's going to happen is that the scene is going to start a transition to the planet scene, okay? In this case, because it means that a landing is starting, okay? So, for this, I'm also thinking that I should be also removing the current interactable, because you might exit the area, but the current interactable variable will still be assigned to the last interactable you were in. So yeah, we might need to remove, to set it as null, to clear that after we exit that area. So yeah, but in any case, this is more than enough. And I have a lot of things like here in this big comment, and that's because I want to start creating a new well, I need to create a new class to handle interactions, okay? And so let me just quickly read what I write here. So check if we're interacting with an interactable, okay? So this is basically what we're checking. But then I added all of this, which is, this should be handled in a middle state, for example, grounded. There, we should be handling all the things in common with every grounded state, such as transitions to hurt, interact, etc. Okay? Then we should have something like astronaut interaction, which would receive the iInteractable and do interactable.interact. But also handle what happens with astronaut in that interaction. That would be determined by the type of interactable. So for example, some interactables like button, lever, computer will execute a specific interaction animation. So those types of interactable would be under the same class slash type, okay? So this is a big description, and what I'm basically trying to say here, I wrote this so that I don't forget because I have so many things I'm working on, not only this game, but the game I'm working on in my main job, but I have other several projects. So sometimes it happens that I'm like not even working on this, but I think about something, like some idea or solution comes to my mind, and I want to write it down as fast as possible so that I don't forget it. Because then when I actually get to work on the thing, I might, like, usually I forget about that thing, and that's how my brain works. Well, if this was the only game I was working on, I wouldn't have this problem, I think. But yeah, I do so many things, so yeah, this is something we are going to be doing at some point in the future, but right now this is all we need. So we need to be in the Starship idle state, and here we're going to just check if current interactable is not null, and then say interact, okay? And then what this is going to do in the landable zone, you can see that lander, so this is going to say, okay, get component in children. This is going to get the lander, okay? And in fact, I'm thinking that I shouldn't be doing this this way, because I already got the lander variable before, so I'm actually thinking that I should cache this, like this here should be cached. So yeah, I'm just going to do that because it's going to be much better. What the hell? So yeah, I need to do this. Yeah, it's going to be events. So here, and also this, like, if I do this, the thing is I'm only limiting this to only be able to handle one entity at a time, one lander at the time. But what happens if, like for example, your starship and also like 20 other NPCs are inside the landing zone for the same planet? That planet should be able to manage all of those. So you know what, I'm just going to remove this. I'm not going to worry about caching this, but I will note it. I will yeah. So yeah, we shouldn't need to do get component here, and get component is really expensive. Well, it's really expensive to do every frame, but if you do it like a couple dozen like times once, it's not a big deal. So, and a couple dozen, I'm like exaggerating the number. So normally we would do it like maybe 10 times in one frame, but it's just moments, it's not every frame. So yeah, and then here you can see lander.start landing this, okay? So lander controller, should we have this start landing? I'm thinking about this because maybe we don't need to do this start landing here, but all we need to do is just inform the landing system that somebody is going to land. So I think that's the correct way of doing this. So start landing, well, we could do that here, but I think it's, yeah, I think this is like a bit, I don't know. I think the only responsibility for the lander controller should be to inform the landable zone that it's going to that it entered the area, and then well, the actual interaction should be handled by the entity from another place, which is in other terms it's still the lander, but then the landable zone is the one that's going to be communicating with the landing system instead of communicating from here and also from lander controller and blah blah blah. So we're just going to do this here, and instead of doing lander start landing, here we're going to say we're going to create a new event. So here, yeah, I think this is the cleanest way of doing this. So on lander started landing, okay? Okay. So now we're going to invoke this event now. Okay. So yeah, what I'm seeing here is that I'm kind of repeating code because this event is doing basically the same thing. Okay. So what I'm thinking is that maybe instead of creating a new delegate like this, you can see that the parameters are identical. What I should do is just create a new variable for this and change the name of this. So here I should name this, for example, on lander interacted. Okay. On lander interacted. So we have two events. One is on received lander, and the other is on lander started landing. Okay. So I think that's cleaner this way, and you can see that nothing changed here, so that's pretty good. And now we should go to the landing system. I'm going to close this, okay, and here in the landing system I should also subscribe to the other event, and that other event is going to fire it's going to execute another method, okay, because I have this one which is on received lander in landable zone, but I need another one now which is for whenever the lander started landing. So on lander started landing, okay. And yeah, I like putting like underscore here to the parameters instead of the local variables. I don't know why. I never like read about why it's better to have these variables have the underscore like the local ones. I don't know, but I'm really used to doing it the other way around, which is adding the underscore here, so that I know that whenever I see the underscore, I know that this variable is coming from a parameter. I don't know. That's how my brain works. So that's perfect. So now on lander started landing, this is the moment where we are going to this is where we're going to, well, you know what, maybe I should yeah, I should create another method from here. Like this. So entity, okay. Okay, perfect. Now, yeah, so that's perfect. So here I would say get entity from lander. Yeah, actually, I don't know if I like this. Well, yeah, it's whatever. I think it's fine. So now I'm going to do the same thing here. And now this is the moment where I'm going to check this is the moment where I'm going to check okay. Here I will check if the entity is the player, is the astronaut or not. So how do I check that? I basically need to first of all, I'm going to, so I have this class which is entity ID data, and this has a UID and has an entity name, okay? Now I'm just going to create a new boolean to ask if this is the astronaut. Okay. Okay, great. So In fact, I'm going to say game tag dot astronaut with the string. Okay, so that's perfect. And I know that every entity has an entity ID, okay? Because it's going to be set at some point. So yeah, for example, this is preset ID, and I think this is actually being set automatically, I believe. So if I hit play here, I don't know, maybe something could break, but we'll see. Yeah, a lot of things are broken. So, oh yeah, that's because I need to add the landing system here, okay? So, why is this here? What the hell? Oh yeah, okay, now I understand. So, yeah, this is going to be called manager. Well, now it's fine. All I need to do is just change this to manager, okay? Okay, perfect. Now I can go here and, well, it's compiling still. Okay, great. So now under this, I'm going to create middle ground. Wait, how did I do it in the planet scene? Let me check. I want to keep using the same structure for everything, so I'm just going to load the planet scene really quick. Under planet, I have background planes, middle ground, and foreground. Okay, perfect. So I pretty much did it the right way. So that's amazing. Now I can move this there, and that's great. Now what I need is to create a landing system object, okay? And this is going to contain landing system, okay? Now I think, let me check something. Planet systems, yeah, I knew. So I should go here and say systems. Planetary systems. That's really fun. So yeah, under this, I'm going to have this script here, and that's perfect. So a little more organized, okay, that's better. And so that's pretty much it. Now it shouldn't complain now, so it should work. See? Yeah, everything is working. So now, what is the thing I wanted to check? So let's move this here, and now what I wanted to check is lander controller, landing system. Oh yeah, I wanted to check if actually this contains, if this has the ID. No, it doesn't have the ID. So yeah, I think I should do it under Starship System, I think, because this is finding the astronaut starship, which is the Starship System, set owner entity. Okay, so here, what am I doing? Starship System, is this as an entity? No. Owner. So how the hell does the isometric ship know? Well, I guess I should go here. Preset ID. What the hell? So how am I setting the actual ID? Entity. Init, send entities, blah blah blah. Create ID. Oh, I have to create it. Okay. Okay, so here I'm going to say create ID, and I'm going to say owner. That's it. Now the thing with this is that, yeah, I don't know. So the side ship, well, I don't know. I'm just going to add fix me. What happens when my doorbell ring? So give me one moment, okay? Okay, was nothing. So yeah, I also turned on the lights. So yeah, whatever. For now, I'm just going to do this. Okay, perfect. So whatever. Now the only thing, like the only entity that's going to have the astronaut ID is the starship, so the isometric ship. So now what I have to do is say if entity.id.isAstronaut. Well, it doesn't work like that. What's the actual class? ID blah blah blah. Oh, entity name UID. What? Why did I have another class? Entity ID data. What the hell? Is this for creating like yeah, I don't know. I'm going to remove this from here, okay? And what's this doing? Astronaut. Okay. Yeah, so instead of there, I should do it here. Okay. So now I can do this. That's perfect. Entity system. Okay, perfect. So yeah. So now from here I can say is astronaut. Okay. So if the entity is the astronaut, then we do something else. We do another thing. Okay. And that's going to be for the next stream. Okay. So yeah, what should happen here is, okay, so let's go ahead here and just remove this. Subscribe to the events, blah, 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 that's done. So now the next step is this, actually. If the lander is astronaut, then show UI, okay? Oh, and I also need to do the same thing here. So show UI. So this is for different things. So if the entity is astronaut, start landing transition to planet scene. Okay, so those are both of these are different events, and I'm realizing that I didn't subscribe, so I'm going to do that here now. So these are two different events. The first one is for whenever the entity enters in the landable zone area. Okay, that's one event. And the other event is when that entity wants to land. So in the case of the astronaut, the player, is when the player presses the interact button. Okay, input. So yeah, in this case, in this method, on receive lander in landable zone is when we enter that zone, and we are going to show the UI. Okay, and then when we press the land input or the interact input, we're going to land there, and that means we're going to transition to the planet's theme, and that's what I'm going to do here. I added this else here because if it's not the astronaut, that means it's any other entity. It could be an NPC, it could be an enemy that wants to land in that landable zone, which could be a planet, whatever thing you can land. And in that case, we are only going to be doing the animation. Okay, so that's great. Okay, so that's pretty good. Actually, we made quite a bit of progress today, and we might be able to stream in Wednesday if everything goes normally, like always. I should be able to stream normally this week, like the normal schedule, which is today, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But I don't know. We'll see throughout the week. But yeah, in any case, we're going to keep working on this in the next stream. And that's going to be the stream for today. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for watching the stream. Thank you for watching from Twitch and also from YouTube. Be sure to follow me on Twitch, subscribe in YouTube. Okay, if you want to watch all of the streams, you can go to the YouTube channel and watch every stream there. I'm basically uploading all of the streams there. Well, not uploading, but saving them there. Okay, and yeah, and you can follow me on Twitch, and you can also join the Discord if you didn't join already. So join the Discord if you want to get notifications when I go live. That's the best way for getting notified. Okay, I always send a message there, and you can also share your stuff there if you're working on games, in a game, if you're working, I don't know, if you're an artist and want to share some art, if you're a musician, you want to share whatever you want to share there, you're more than welcome. Okay, and that's gonna be it for today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ciala, for staying here. Bread Monsters, thank you very much, and we're going to see each other next stream. Okay, bye bye.